Alright everybody, so in this Fantasy Age tutorial we are going to be looking at social classes and how they affect your backgrounds. We're going to take a look at how you can do this randomly or how you can do it with a point-buy system that is not only going to involve the backgrounds but the race that you choose for your character as well. And we're going to take a look at what a couple of these backgrounds actually are and how you can incorporate these into your race. Maybe you want to create a half race and incorporate that into your race, your background, everything. It'll be really good. So first off, this all goes back to Dragon Age. Okay, in Dragon Age, this is where Fantasy Age originated from. Was from Dragon Age, probably about 4 or 5 years ago. Now, in Dragon Age, you got to choose a background. Now, your background was basically your race and whatever background you wanted mixed together. So you basically, it was like you were getting two different things in one. But if there were certain backgrounds that included like an elf or a human or one of the other races in an elf, you would have different charts that you could choose and roll for benefits off of. But in Fantasy Age, they've basically separated the two. They've split the two. But you know, if you want to use an optional point-buy system, they kind of merge them back together into one entity, and we'll go over that. So the first way that you get total customization of your character. If you love rolling random, or if your dungeon master or your game master, he or she wants you to roll random, then here's a 1d6 chart. Now we're going to take a look at this here, and social class is basically one of four things. It's your status of society. Are you an outsider? Are you going to be lower, middle, or upper class? Social class, it actually, a few things are basically tied to social class. The first and foremost thing is your background. Now, depending on what social class you have, you will get to choose between 6. If you want to choose, if your dungeon master or game master allows you to do that, then fine. Or your dungeon master or game master may have you roll randomly also, and that's also another d6 roll. So we'll say that we are going to have to roll randomly, and we rolled a 3, so we're going to be lower class. And then we'll say that we rolled a 4 again. Now for lower class, once you have your lower class, you're going to come over here, and you would be a sailor. So there's some benefits, or I guess you could say not so good of a benefit, because your starting currency for your character depends on your social class. Now the starting money is in the equipment section, which is I think 2 chapters or 3 chapters away, but I incorporated into this tutorial so you can see that starting money is affected by your social class. So outsider, they'll start with 15 gold plus 3d6, and as you can see, the lower class you're going to start with a little more, but the upper class is 100 silver plus 3d6. So that's why some game masters may want you to roll randomly, or some may just not even care and give you total control, total character customization of your character that you want to play. So once you roll your class, you roll your say we have the sailor. Now every background they get to choose one focus. All right. Now for the sailor that we rolled a 4 for, obviously you would choose Constitution drinking or Dexterity sailing. And if you don't know what an ability focus is yet, you can check out the ability focuses tutorial, or I'll explain what it is right now. Basically, if you're going to be sailing a ship, you're going to have to do or perform a dexterity ability check anyways. All right, so it's 3d6 plus your dexterity. Now, seeing that you have a focus within the dexterity ability of sailing, that is going to give you an additional +2 to your roll. So now you're not only going to do 3d6 plus your dexterity, you're also going to add in +2. And that means only for dexterity sailing checks. So that's how I can break it down into the easiest layman's terms where everybody can understand. Because some people have been getting confused on I don't understand what this dexterity check is compared to the dexterity sailing check. So that's the difference between the two. So Even if you're not a sailor, you can still do, a sailing check with base dexterity. But seeing that you are a sailor, you take the dexterity sailing focus. It gives you the bonus of 2. Now, plus you can get a higher bonus than 2 past level 11 to a max of +3. But that's at level 11. You'll find that out down the line. So as you can see, there's 4 different social classes: outsider, lower class, middle class, upper class. Now, what if you don't want to roll randomly? What if you want to choose whatever you want to play? Maybe you have a theme, which is part of character creation for Fantasy Age. Number 1 is brainstorm a theme or a concept you want for your character. Maybe you don't want to be maybe you don't want to be lower class sailor. Maybe you want to be upper class. Maybe you want to be a noble. Maybe you want to be a scholar. Why not? It just depends on if your dungeon master or game master is going to make you roll, or have total freedom to do whatever you want. So for the outsider backgrounds, there are criminals, exiles, hermits, pirates, radicals, and wanderers. Lower class, you can see that there's artists, laborers, performers, sailors, soldiers, and trade persons. All the dirty jobs, all the lower class stuff. Middle class, you could be a guilder, an initiate, an innkeeper, a merchant, a scribe, or a student. And last is the upper class, which you can be an apprentice, a dilettante, a noble, official, scholar, or squire. Pretty cool. 24 backgrounds for Fantasy Age in 4 social classes. 6 backgrounds per social class. Don't forget, starting money is also affected by your social class. Now, I mentioned just a second ago, I mentioned that you could use an optional point buy also. And that's total. If you like total control of your character, then this option would be for you. Now, when you do this, when you're going to do this, you're going to choose your race first. So when you choose your race, say you choose dwarf, okay? You're going to get when you have your point buy system, you're going to get 4 advancement points. Okay, you can spend these advancements on benefits from your race table and from this background table here. Because if you haven't seen yet, I'll show you guys the races really quick. This is what the benefits look like for the dwarf. So we'll say that I did choose a dwarf for my race. So you get the 4 points. Any kind of primary ability score is going to cost you 2 of those 4 points. And then any kind of focus ability would be 1 point. So let's go back over to our backgrounds, shall we? So here you go. You get the 4, you get your, 4 advancement points. You spend 2 on you buy an ability. Say you wanted to buy one of your primary abilities, Constitution, for your dwarf. You can buy that. That costs you 2 points. Now, you want to buy something else on the dwarf benefits table from a focus, because you can only buy 1 ability, and you can buy a bonus from that table for 1 point, and then you come over here to, say you're choosing you're going to be a noble. Then you would spend your last point on one of these 2. So basically, you're not getting any more, you're not getting any less. You just, you're having the freedom to choose what you want. So this is how, basically buying your race and background benefits works. Now, when all of this, you take your race, if you want to create a hybrid or half race, you can do so. There's rules for that. Once you choose your background and you have, your background here, here's a couple that I want to kind of show you as examples. Now, for the upper class, I have the spire here. And there are many knights in the world, and all of them need help taking care of their mounts, cleaning their armor, sharpening weapons, and doing whatever else the knight asks. That is the role of the squire. In exchange for all your work, you get to learn what it takes to become a knight yourself. That day may be far off or very far near. So, as a background story, part 1 of your character creation is thinking of a concept. And you can take you could take that and mold your race, your social class, your background, and what actual background you choose. Like, squire, maybe our dwarf is a squire for one of the other, the maybe one of the sons of the king. And now you're following this dwarf around, this noble. He's a knight of his clan. You're following him around, keeping his armor clean, keeping his horse taken care of. And then one day, you become an adventurer. And you are now knighted yourself. So, you take all of this and put it into your background story. And now maybe later on, you'll take a squire. Maybe your game master will allow you to take a squire, and then you can make them a knight later on. Maybe they'll betray you. Maybe you'll betray them. Maybe you'll send them out to get killed purposely because you don't want to do it yourself. I mean, there's all kinds of things that you can do with background stories and whatnot. So there you go, everybody. That's social classes and backgrounds and how to use the optional point buy system. And don't forget, the starting money is not in the section with social class and background in, I believe it's chapter 2. It's in the equipment section or in the starting advancement section for your character. So anyways, guys, hope you appreciate it. I appreciate doing these for you. And leave a comment down below. Like and subscribe to the YouTube channel. And until next time, I'm Dave, and good gaming. See ya!